Welcome back to the Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm here to bring you the match review for Manchester United 4, Everton nil. Yeah, so back from Old Trafford after that dismal display and the very difficult defeat at Old Trafford, the 4-0 defeat. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts, and I'll start with the starting lineup thoughts. And I think my first thing was I wasn't sure on Decore. I don't think he offered a lot against Brentford in the 0-0 draw at Goodison last weekend. I don't think, he offered enough on the ball to create enough chances. And especially a team like Manchester United, if you do have the ball at your feet, you need to utilise it well. And I think Decore, sometimes when he does have the ball at his feet, he panics a little bit. And I think that definitely showed. So, I was a little bit. I would rather have probably had Orel Mangala in there just for a little bit of a calmer head. I think it probably would have been a little bit more of a game for him rather than Decore. So that was my first talking point of the starting 11. And then also the biggest talking point ahead of the game was Beto starting over Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, this is an interesting one because obviously people who know and people who watch the starting 11 shows will know my opinion on this. I think I've called for Beto to start quite a lot of times. I actually don't think I would have started him in this game. I think it was very similar to Dyche hanging Ellis Sims out to dry a few years ago when he went to Old Trafford. I think Ellis Sims's starts at for Everton, I think they only came at Anfield and at Old Trafford. So I think it felt very similar today for Beto going up there. I probably would have started Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know that's probably a shock to hear, but I think it was probably right to give Beto maybe his opportunity last weekend against Brentford. And obviously, we know that Dyche didn't change it until 70 minutes and just threw Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto on up front together in that game. So I think for at the starting lineup, I maybe would have gone with Calvert-Lewin just for a bit of continuity and just in the way we played. Maybe Calvert-Lewin was carrying a little bit of a knock. I'm not so sure. That's obviously yet to come out in any press or anything that Dyche has said. But Beto was the biggest talking point probably on the team sheet, and I think maybe it was probably not the right decision in hindsight. But I don't think he had a terrible game. But I'll get onto that as I move into the match review. But again, as well, Dwight McNeil playing in the number 10, is that experiment over? I think it's very close to being over, in my opinion. I don't think Dwight McNeil can play in 10 much more because he's just not offering anything. I think we just need a change of tactics or a switch of system because, the biggest thing for me seeing McNeil in the 10 again, I don't think he had a great game creating chances against Brentford. So what he did to keep his place, I'm not 100% sure. But going into that first half, you know what? I genuinely did think we started well. I think we were playing well. I was stood in that away end at Old Trafford and it was the fans seemed to get behind the team. We were playing well. We were, creating a few nice little chances. There was a few nice bits of interplay, a few triangles where we were getting in behind Manchester United, and we were pressing them well. We were, flying at Manchester United, making sure that we were in their face. And a team that's coached by Ruben Amorim, they like to have the ball at their feet and they like to knock it about. So the best way to do it was get in their face and be high pressing, and we did that. We actually did that for the first 20, 25 minutes. And I will genuinely say, and I'll give credit where credit is due. And I know try and be balanced in these match reviews, but I'll give credit where it's due. I think that was probably one of our best 20-minute performances in the season. I genuinely do think we were surprisingly playing quite well at Old Trafford. So, but it did always feel like obviously United were creating chances. They were getting in round the back a couple of times. Dalot had a few crosses which were overhit towards Amad Diallo, and then obviously Amad Diallo on that right hand side was ripping Vitaly Mikalenko to shreds a number of times. So it did always feel like in that first half, if Manchester United were to get on the score sheet first and go ahead, it felt like they were going to get three or four in the game, and it's just a mentality thing, in my opinion. It was always coming in that first half, which is a really annoying thing because we were the masters of our own downfall. A cross which went deep into the box, and Marcus Rashford latched onto it and hammered the ball towards the Everton penalty area, and it ricocheted in off an Everton defender. I couldn't see from my angle who it was. I've not watched that goal back, especially, but once that goal goes in, the heads drop, and the nice play which I was talking about and the creating of chances that I was talking about in the first 20, 25 minutes went straight out the window as soon as that Rashford goal went in. And it looked to me like they down tools there, especially when that first goal had gone in. I think to me it looked like they capitulated and the heads went down straight away. And at half time going in 2-0 down, you do feel like the game is over there. I was stood in that away end at half time and I was like, I turned to my mate, I said, I think the game's done. And you kind of just know, don't you? You know in your heart that the game is done at 2-0 down, especially at Old Trafford. It's a difficult place to go at the best of times. So you're just thinking it's over, but you do expect a reaction, don't you, going into the second half? At half time, I do not know what Sean Dyche said to those players, but they came out and looked worse than the first half, if not, even worse than some of the performances that we've seen this season, which have made Dyche under a lot of scrutiny. I think that could have potentially been one of the worst starts to a second half I've ever seen Everton ever have. And to go 3-0 down 27 seconds into the into the second half, what the hell he said to them at halftime, I do not know because it's crazy. And you wait so long for Dyche to make a change there in that second half. That even when you go 3-0 down, I know the game is pretty much done at that point, but when you go 3-0 down, you at least expect a reaction. He's so reactionary to things in the game rather than proactive. We've said it so many times, not just me, other people on the Toffee Blues have said it so many times that he's so reactionary to a game. He's never proactive. He's never making a sub and taking the game to someone. He just reacts to what happens on the pitch. And unfortunately, in today's game, you cannot do that. That's just not pragmatic to be a manager and do that. And when you're 3-0 down at Old Trafford, the mountain to climb there is absolutely done. If the game wasn't done at 2-0 at half time, the game was definitely done at 3-0. The way Rashford waltzed in and again, I just keep saying it, with the masses of our own downfall. But again, the change didn't come until late on in the second half once again. And then for the fourth goal, it was just calamitous defending. It capped off an absolutely dismal display at Old Trafford. And I just don't know where we go from here. My final thoughts on it, really. Where does Dyche go from here? I do think he has to be sacked after this game. I know people, may have had their different reservations before this game. Obviously, we're going into a very difficult run where we've got Manchester United, and then our next four are Wolves, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. So that's a very difficult test. Obviously, it makes Wolves on Wednesday night at Goodison Park an absolutely massive game. But where does Dyche go from here? I do think he has to lose his job. Unfortunately, that today looked like the players have completely given up. I think the fans have given up as well. I think the large majority of fans that were on the fence have maybe reserving a little bit for Dyche because of what he did last season and got us to 48 points when the odds were massively stacked against us. I think people maybe who were on the fence were maybe reserving that and maybe using that judgment to say no, we have to give him a chance to turn it round. But I do think it's just gone past the point of no return now for Dyche. And I do genuinely think now that the players have given up and also the large majority of the fan base have given up. It's disappointing because obviously parts of last season we did play well, but the way we're playing now, it's like we've not been coached how to attack. We only score set pieces. There's a stat here where it's 32 games this calendar year, and we've only scored 12 goals from open play. So that shows that it's not just a striker thing. It's how we're setting up to attack. It's how we're creating chances, and we're not creating chances, meaningful chances that players can put away. Especially when Dyche first came in, we knew we were going to be solid. We're not even solid anymore. We're conceding goals left, right, and centre. I was looking at Dyche's aggregate score against Manchester United, for example, and he's 11-0 down from his aggregate score against Manchester United in his time at Everton. So it says a lot just on that game alone and that aggregate score alone that we're not defensively solid and we're not creating chances either. So a manager that's come in to be defensively solid is not being defensively solid and not creating goal chances. Where does he go from here? He has to lose his job for me, unfortunately. That today stood in that away end, felt like the away end at Norwich under Rafa Benitez, but also felt like the away end under Frank Lampard against West Ham. And it was very telling. And I think to the outside world, he's tarnished the expectations of Everton so much that, he was talking about relegation battles very early on in this season. So that the expectations now of this squad are in and around a relegation battle, when I personally think that we're much better than that. I think we're, at least a mid-table squad there. So my final thoughts from the Manchester United game and the difficult defeat today, I do think Dyche probably has to go after this one. I think we are past the point of no return now, which is disappointing, but I think that the freaking group maybe have to come in very soon and make their decision on Sean Dyche and maybe make a decision on a long-term managerial appointment or a firefighter appointment. But it is looking very bleak now, and obviously going into the Wolves game on Wednesday night is going to be a very difficult test at Goodison Park, and I'm hoping we can just pull something together because it is the biggest game of our season. And then obviously we have the small matter of a Merseyside derby next Saturday to look forward to. But that is all for my thoughts today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about the defeat against Manchester United. Are you still behind Dyche? Are you still thinking that we can turn this round? What do you think about the squad and the certain performances of the players? But let me know your thoughts in the comments. That is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.